Hi, welcome to the course on microirrigation arranged by International Commission on Irrigation and Drainage.
Topic for this chapter 19 lecture 1 is community based MIS irrigation.
Let me introduce myself, that is the speaker of this topic. Myself Abhijit Surve. I am working with Netafim Irrigation India Private Limited. My current position in company is Manager Design and Business Development. I have over 12 years experience in the field of microirrigation. At Netafim, I have dealt with the irrigation systems for the open field agriculture, landscape, greenhouse humidification and irrigation systems, and community irrigation systems for the large scale areas. In my current role, I am taking care of the lead generation for community irrigation projects, conceptual designs, estimates, and detailed project reports, and technical support during project execution. As I said, I work with Netafim, which is the pioneer and global leader in the field of micro irrigation. Netafim is working in more than 110 countries with 27 subsidiaries and 16 manufacturing plants around the world. Netafim is serving farming community for over 55 years to grow more with less with their reliable products and services. Netafim has most robust irrigation system components for irrigation, greenhouse and digital farming solution, that is the automation components of the irrigation micro irrigation systems.
The world's population and demand for the food and water is growing very fast. Our resources are limited and already stressed. It is expected by 2050 that we may have 25% less water than we need and around 20% less arable land per person. 4 billion of us will have to live with severe water stress. Currently, around 69% of the world's water goes into agriculture to irrigate only 20% of the cultivable land. The balance 80% still is dependent on the rains. So, to meet the uh, growing population's food and water demands, we need to have innovative solutions. We need to have advanced cultivation and irrigation practices which can increase the productivity and have the efficient use in agriculture. And community micro irrigation is the right solution which can deal with this water stress and increasing demand of the food. The Indian perspective of food and water demand. By 2050, the Indian population is expected to reach up to 1.6 billion from the current population of 1.2 billion. Also, the food water requirement is expected to reach up to 450 million metric tons from the current demand of 270 million metric tons. In India, around 91% water goes into the agriculture, 9% into the domestic water use, and 2% into the industrial applications. So if we increase the water use efficiency into the agricultural sector just by 10%, then the available water for the domestic use can be doubled. So that is the impact we can have if we increase the water use efficiency into the agricultural sector. Now with this 91% water use, we are irrigating only 48% of the cultivable land, that is 68 million hectares, and balance 73 million hectares or 52% is still dependent on the rains. Out of this 48%, 85% water goes into the flood irrigation and only 15% is into the micro irrigation. So there is huge scope to increase the water use efficiency into the agricultural sector, and we can be water rich for the uh, domestic and industrial applications. Different types of irrigation. We can have flood irrigation. In that flood irrigation, we can have ponding as well as we can have furrow irrigation. Then types of micro irrigations, drip irrigation, sprinkler irrigation, center pivot. In case of drip irrigation, there can be surface drip, subsurface drip. So these are the broad types of irrigation, and each system has its own advantages and disadvantages, and each has different water use efficiency. This graph shows about the water use efficiency of the different irrigation systems. Water use efficiency is nothing but the how efficiently we are using the water, available water, how much water is actually utilizing and how much we are wasting. So like in flood irrigation, the water use efficiency is 40 to 60%, meaning around 60 to 40% water goes as a waste. In case of furrow irrigation, the water use efficiency can be 50 to 70%. And drip irrigation, that is the most efficient irrigation system, wherein the water use efficiency is above 90%. It can be in the range of 90 to 95%, because we do not have any conveyance losses. In drip irrigation, we will be having entire closed conduit network from the water source up to the field, and inside the field also we are irrigating just the root zone of the crop and not the entire soil surface. So that is the beauty of drip irrigation, wherein we can have most efficient water use as compared to the other irrigation methods. Conventional canal irrigation systems, that is the broadly used in India and many countries. So water is diverted from the source, from the reservoir or dam, or either it is diverted by gravity or it is pumped with the suitable arrangement of intake canal and pump house. Then water is delivered into the main canal. At the head reach of the canals, everything is okay. People are cultivating crops like water intensive crops like paddy also. But as canal progresses towards the end, because of inadequate maintenance and breakages into the canals, the conveyance losses are much more. Most of the water goes into the deep, goes as a waste because of the deep percolation and runoff. So water is not reaching to the canal tail ends. So there is no inequitable distribution of water. People at the canal head reaches, they are cultivating water intensive crops like paddy or sugarcane, and water is not reaching till the canal ends. So there is huge difference between the irrigation potential created and actually utilized. These are the drawbacks in conventional canal irrigation method. The overall water use efficiency is very less. It's in the range of 30 to 40%. Inequitable distribution of water. As I said, people at the head reaches, they are cultivating water intensive crops, and water is not at all reaching to the canal tail ends. So there is no inequitable distribution. Water logging and salinity at the canal head ends. This is also a big serious issue. Then huge difference between the irrigation potential created and actually utilized. The land acquisition, for the construction of these canal networks, huge canal networks, we need to acquire the huge land, and that is also big disadvantage in conventional canal irrigation methods. Low returns on investment and longer payback period. High operation and maintenance cost, that is also a concern. New trends in community irrigation projects. Apart from the conventional canal irrigation, nowadays in India at least, there are different models are coming up, that is the pipe distribution network and the community micro irrigation. So these are the new trends in community irrigation projects. We'll see one by one. This is the maturity curve. In the conventional canal irrigation method, the water use efficiency is very less, around 40%. Also, the pipe distribution network is in between the community micro irrigation and the conventional canal irrigation. Only the conveyance efficiency is increased little. So the overall water use efficiency in case of pipe distribution network can be around 60%. But the most effective community irrigation system can be community micro irrigation, wherein the water is conveyed through the closed conduit networks, and for the infield water application, the drip irrigation system can be adopted. So in this system, the overall water use efficiency can be above 80%. These are some of the photographs for the pipe distribution network project. As I said, PDN is not the perfect solution. We need manual intervention to carry the water from common source, that is chuck outlet, up to the individual farms. So if there is no coordination between the farmers, then there can be an issue. The water use efficiency is very less. You can see the water is conveyed through the again open canal, open field channel. So the water losses are more. If the outlet is not at the highest point within the chuck, then the gravity flow is not possible. Also, adoption of the micro irrigation is left at the farmer's discretion. So if farmer do not accept or adopt the drip irrigation system or micro irrigation system for the infield water application, as you see here it is not adopted. So the life of the project or the success of the project will be a big question. Qualitative comparison of PDN versus community micro irrigation. You can see in almost all the parameters the community micro irrigation behaves superior as compared to the pipe distribution network projects. It can be a cropping pattern, it can be a project benefits, a benefit cost ratio, that is the return on investment. Then it can be water delivery to ensure the har khet ko pani, or it can be water use efficiency, that is the per drop more crop component of Government of India. Then it can be a soil health or scalability or sustainability. The community micro irrigation is superior in all the aspects of the evaluation. Community micro irrigation. Community micro irrigation is a system wherein the government develops the irrigation infrastructure for benefiting the large number of small farmers, or farmers themselves come together to form a group, develop the common infrastructure, and uh, cultivate the crops for the better returns. In most of the places, the perennial water source is far away from the individual farms. So, for the individual farms, it is not possible to develop the lift infrastructure at their own. So, if such small farmers come together, form the cooperative water user association or society, then they can develop the common lift infrastructure from the uh, water source at long distance. It can be a reservoir or river, and if they develop such a common infrastructure, then they will get assured irrigation water throughout the year, and they can cultivate perennial crops and get good returns on their investment. In conventional irrigation, there is a river, then embankment, water is stored on the dam, and then it, the common practice is to have the lifting infrastructure. Then water is lifted from the source and delivered at the highest point. From there, the main canal runs. Then there will be major distributary, minor distributary, and for the infield water application, water goes into the by the flood irrigation. So the overall water use efficiency in such projects is very less. It can be around 40%, 40 to 42%. Also, the uh, along the main canal there should be road for the approach. So the huge land acquisition is required in such projects. But in case of integrated lift and drip irrigation projects, water is lifted from the source and conveyed through the closed conduit pipe network, underground pipe network. So the land acquisition is not required. And also for the infield water application, advanced irrigation systems like drip and sprinkler can be adopted. So the overall water use efficiency in integrated lift and drip irrigation projects can be above 80%. So with same amount of water that is allowed for the conventional canal and flow irrigation, we can irrigate almost double the area. Advantages of community micro irrigation: with the same amount of water we can irrigate double area, high water and fertilizer use efficiency, much better farm quality and yield, saving in land acquisition costs, easy operation and maintenance, automation and precise irrigation is possible, conveyance losses are very less, and equitable distribution of water. These are some of the major advantages of integrated lift and drip irrigation projects. So phases in community micro irrigation projects: initiation and conceptual design, planning and detailed design, execution, and operation and maintenance. Almost in all the community irrigation projects implemented or being implemented in India, all these projects are to develop the irrigation infrastructure, the engineering infrastructure, as well as the social engineering aspects are also part of the project. That is the training and capacity building of the project's associates, including the government officials, farmers, then the market linkages, facilitation for the marketing of the farm produce, then formation of water user association, and also the operation and maintenance after the successful commissioning of the project. So all these projects are being implemented with. So as I said, with the integrated lift and drip irrigation projects, we can irrigate almost double the area than that is possible with the flood irrigation method. Let us take example. So say water is available, 1 TMC water is available, and net crop water requirement is say 300 millimeters. So considering 40% overall water use efficiency in case of flood irrigation, we need to supply around 750 millimeter of water for the crop growing season. So if we adopt the integrated lift and drip irrigation, and if we assume there is efficiency of around 80%, then to meet the crop water requirement, we need to supply 375 millimeters in a total crop season. So area that can be irrigated with flood irrigation can be 3,776 hectares. And if we adopt drip irrigation for this area, then around 0.5 TMC water can be used and 0.5 TMC water can be saved. So additionally, with the saved water, another 3,776 hectares can be irrigated. So the comparison is like with the 1 TMC of water with flood irrigation, we can irrigate around 3,700 hectares. And if we adopt integrated lift and drip irrigation concept, then with the same 1 TMC of water, 7,552 hectares can be irrigated, or around 50% water can be saved, which can be made available for the other water usage. So drip is the right way to grow more food, use less water on the land we already have. So the proposed solution, as PDN and conventional flood irrigation is not that effective, the proposed solution is the community micro irrigation, which integrates these two components, har khet ko pani and per drop more crop. That is, water is conveyed from the source and it is made available for the each and every field. And for the infield water application, drip or sprinkler irrigation can be adopted. So the water use efficiency in these projects can be very high. Also, we can ensure the good returns to the farmers. Also, the farm productivity will be very good because of adoption of the advanced micro irrigation systems. So few examples of community micro irrigation projects in India. Gotkindi project, probably this is the first of its kind community micro irrigation project, community drip irrigation project. We implemented this project in 2010. Actually, this Gotkindi lift irrigation scheme was established in 1980s for the 608 acres area, but recently during 2008-9, because of the load shedding or the power cuts, the entire area was not being irrigated. Nowadays the electricity is available for irrigation is generally 10 to 12 hours only. So with this, as the system was designed for 24 hours application irrigation, but now the electricity is available only for the 50% of the time, the entire area was not being irrigated. So that was the trigger. So when we approached this cooperative society and we asked them to adopt micro irrigation or drip irrigation, they found it useful, and the entire scheme was converted for the drip irrigation for the infield water application, and now every field is getting water daily. And apart from this irrigation, their soil health is the soil health is good now, better now, because of over irrigation and this black cotton soil. The salinity issue was there in the fields of these beneficiaries of the project, but because of the adoption of drip irrigation, soil health is improved, every field is getting daily irrigation, their yield is increased from 70 to 100 tons per hectare to more than 150 tons per hectare. So these are the benefits these project beneficiaries are reaping for the last more than 10 years. There is YouTube link is given. If you are interested, you can visit this link for the movie on this project. Ramthal Community Drip Irrigation Project. This is the first project of large scale, the government project. In this project, around 24,000 hectare area is irrigated, benefiting around 15,000 farmers from the 50 villages. This project is implemented in Bagalkot district of Karnataka. Originally, it was planned to irrigate only 12,517 hectares through the conventional flood irrigation, but later to spread the benefits of irrigation to the larger community, this project was upgraded to lift and drip irrigation, and it is now implemented. In conventional irrigation or the original plan, it was to irrigate 12,571 hectares with the overall water use efficiency of only 50%. But because of adoption of drip, the water use efficiency is increased to 90% and area is increased to 24,000 hectares. So with this adoption of integrated lift and drip irrigation, as we have underground pipe network, so the land acquisition is very less. The area is increased almost to double. Also, the farmers are getting benefited with the improved crop quality and yield. The entire project is automated, so the operation and maintenance is very easy. Farmers are getting good returns on investment. This slide is about the scope of the project. As I said, almost all the community lift and drip irrigation projects are implemented or being implemented for the development of the engineering infrastructure as well as the social engineering aspects. These are the turnkey projects. The engineering infrastructure, development of engineering infrastructure includes survey and design, then the power transmission and substations, then construction of the civil infrastructure, that is sump, pump house SCADA, then the bulk water supply, then control rooms for each zone, then filters, primary filters, secondary filters, PVC or SDP pipe network, then the automation system for the infield water use or infield automation, and for the infield water application there is a drip irrigation system. So these are the engineering infrastructure components. Apart from this, there is a social engineering components, that is facilitation for the market linkages, training and capacity building of all the associates, agronomy support, and formation of the water user association. So this is the broadly scope of project. In this scope, the as government is involved, the farmers are involved, and the project execution agency, so each has different role and responsibility. So the government's role and responsibility is to monitor these projects. Initially the agency had to survey and design the system and submit for the approvals. So the approval and monitoring of these construction activities is the responsibility of government. Survey, design, formation of water user associations, trainings, installation and commissioning, operation and maintenance, these are the activities the agency, the project execution agency has to do. And cultivation practices like intercultural operations, buying the seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, laying the drip lines, rewinding, storing it in a good condition, and regular operation and maintenance, these are the activities farmers are supposed to do. So this is the broad scope matrix for these community irrigation projects. Some of the success stories from the Ramthal project. As you can see, for most of the farmers, the net profit is well above the 70,000 per hectare per The common crops in the project area are like red gram, chili, sorghum, and Bengal gram. So there are many farmers, many success stories. So whatever pictures you are seeing here, these are from the project area itself. Recently, the government of Karnataka, the project execution project owners, that is KBJL and Krishna Bhagya Jal Nigam Limited, they had appreciated the progressive farmers from the project area, and this is the picture from that ceremony function. Apart from Ramthal project, there are other projects being implemented which are under execution. The Singatalur lift and drip irrigation project. The major crops in the project area is like jawar, maize, vegetables, floriculture, groundnut, sunflower, soybean, wheat, gram. The cropping intensity for the Singatalur project is 100% during Kharif and 20% area during Rabi. So the overall cropping intensity is 120%. We are supposed to irrigate 3.2 millimeters during the Kharif season and 6.2 millimeters during the Rabi season. The maximum operating hours for the project is 24 hours. The pipe distribution network is combination of MS, SDP and PVC pipes. The average drip line spacing is 4 feet, that is 1.22 meters, and this project is under execution. So we have 4 packages in Singatalur 1, 3, 4 and 5, and the project area is like 10,080 hectares for the Singatalur 1, benefiting 13 villages and 6,500 farmers. The water allocation for the Singatalur 1 project is 1.5 TMC. Singatalur 3 area is 11,330 hectares, benefiting 23 villages and 7,000 farmers. The water allocation is 1.55 TMC. Singatalur 4 to irrigate 17,470 hectares, benefiting 30 villages and 14,500 farmers. The water allocation is 1.85 TMC. And Singatalur 5 area is 19,427 hectares, benefiting 17 villages and 15,200 farmers. The water allocated for this project is 2.06 TMC. Tarikere Lift and Drip Irrigation Project, Package 2. The project area is 13,594 hectares, benefiting 46 villages and 27 farmers. In the Tarikere project, the average land holding is very small, so the number of farmers are very huge. The water allocation for this project is 0.88 TMC. The common crops in the project area is again jawar, maize, vegetables, groundnuts, sunflower, soybean, and also there are plantation crops like coconut and arecanut. In this project, we are supposed to irrigate 100% area during the Kharif season. The crop water requirement is 2.1 millimeters per day during the Kharif season. The system is designed for 24 hours operation. The pipe distribution includes combination of MS, SDPE and PVC pipes. The average drip line spacing or the emitting pipe spacing in this project is 4 feet. This project is also under execution. Nandwadgi Lift and Drip Irrigation Project, Package 2. The project area is 12,500 hectares, benefiting 20 villages and 7,500 farmers. The water allocated for this project is 1.29 TMC. The common crops in the project area includes red gram, onion, Bengal gram, sorghum, chili, cotton, etc. In this project, we are supposed to irrigate 60% area during Kharif, 30% during Rabi, and 10% bi-seasonal crops. So during the rainy season, total area under irrigation can be around 70%, and during winter season, the total area will be around 40%. So the overall cropping intensity is 110%. We are supposed to deliver 3.3 millimeters per day during the Kharif season and 5.2 millimeters per day during the Rabi season. This system is also designed for 24 hours operation. The pipe distribution includes combination of MS, SDP and PVC pipes. The average drip line spacing in this project is 5 feet, that is 1.52 meter. And as per the detailed project report, the benefit cost ratio for the project was 1.62. Factors affecting project cost. The project cost is never a constant, or we cannot generalize based on one project's cost. What is the project of other cost? We cannot generalize. The project cost depends on case to case, and these are the factors on which the project cost includes or depends on. That is the distance of water source from the project area, then cropping pattern, and the climate of this particular area, which affects the crop water requirement and the system cost. Then project area geography, the topography of the land and the soil composition, whether it is soil soft, murum or hard rock. That is because the earthwork or trench works are affected by the type of soil. Then what is the crop geometry and emitting system specifications? What are the common crops in the project area, and accordingly the irrigation system will be suggested. So the emitter specifications affects the system cost. Then material of the pipe distribution network, whether we are going for MS, SDP or ductile iron or PVC networks, what is the material of pipe distribution network that affects the total project cost. And then the power availability and system operating hours per day. The system cost is never same if we have 10 hours of system operation and 20 hours of system operation. So more the operating hours, more the cost effective design, and lesser the operating hours, the system is going to be the costly. So these are the major factors which affect cost of the community micro irrigation system. So in a conclusion, Community micro irrigation projects can enhance the water use efficiency to great extent. In the conventional methods, the overall water use efficiency is around 40 to 50%. But if we adopt integrated lift and drip irrigation projects, then the water use efficiency can be increased to 80 to 90%. So with the same available water, we can either irrigate double area, or we can save around 50% water, which can be made available for the other usage. The community micro irrigation projects ensures judicious use of resources like water, energy and fertilizer. Community micro irrigation projects ensures food and water security for the ever increasing population. Similar projects should be taken up on priority across the world. Community micro irrigation projects has potential to bring the social transformation in rural areas, which can increase earning of the farming families and address their necessities. Key issues in rural areas are like unemployment, migration, illiteracy, malnutrition, lack of basic infrastructure like schools, colleges, hospitals, sanitation, etc. can be addressed by raising the standard of living of the rural populations. CMI projects ensures social and economic welfare of rural areas, which creates win-win-win situation for all the stakeholders, that is government and the rural population. And with this, we are at the end of the presentation. For more information, you can write to me or contact me. Thank you.